Okay, so this video is how to clean the water recycling system. First step is to move this out of the way. To move this out of the way, you gotta install the wheels that go right here, and that enables you to pick it up and roll it out of the way. The parts to do that are right here. It's here, these wheels, one wheel and one handle per side. The way to put them on is you gotta take the nut off the end of the bolt, and you gotta push the bolt through here, make sure it comes out the back, and then after you gotta install the wheel here. This wheel here, you gotta take this nut off and put it right here, and you gotta do that to both sides. Now you have to put this handle sticking out this way with the fat end, this fat end on top right here being on the top. Once installed, it looks like this. This is hand tight. You do not need to put the nut in the back of this. This is just for temporary use. It look like that. Like that. Okay, so to pull it out of the way, you turn these handles and you lift it up slightly so you can pull it out. So then you pull it out kind of like that. Okay, and as you're pulling it out, then you lift it up all the way. You can't lift it up all the way at first because then it'll hit here. So once you're out kind of that, and you pull it out and you just put it right there. Once you do that, now you have access to the whole thing. First thing to do is right underneath the machine, you have to take this ring here, turn it. Once it stops, you pull it down, kind of like that, and then you pull it out of here. Then you take this to the sink and you gotta rinse off the inside of it. Once it's out, there's this gray gasket. Try not to lose the gasket. Okay, the gasket is right in here. You see it right there. Don't lose that gasket, it has to stay there. Okay, next you need to disconnect the water lines. Make sure that when it's reconnected that the one matches up with the one. The other one. Okay, so to separate them, you gotta push this tab right here. Just push the tab. Okay, and then you pull this part out. There you go, so it separates like that. The other one, same thing. Push the tab and then it separates. Okay, once it's like that, you have to grab the whole thing and pull it this way. It's kind of heavy, so just pull it out like that. Okay, after that, you have to lift up this right here. There's another one on the other side, same thing. You go lift the whole thing, and then you gotta go clean this. Okay, pause. Okay, next you need to take out this disc right here. To take out this disc, you have to flip these handles inward, and they're really hard. So what you need to do is you have to push down on it, put some pressure on it, and then go like that. All three of them. Just disengage them, and then pull up the disc. This also needs to be clean, so you just gotta rinse it. Next, there's a gasket here. This is reusable. This also has to be clean. Next, there's a bucket in here. The bucket needs to be pulled out and washed. All this white stuff here is residue, so this whole thing minus the bucket gets thrown out. So it's kind of heavy, so you gotta pull it up like this, and you gotta throw all this away. Let's go to the trash can. So usually to clean these, I just flip it over and just start squeezing it, kind of like that. You gotta just kind of break it up. And it's been here for a while now. It's not breaking up. If that method doesn't work, just kind of put the screwdriver through there. The point is to clean, get the stuff out of here. Just gotta do that until everything is out. Get as much out of it as you can in the trash, so that when you go rinse it in the sink, it's only a little bit that goes down the sink. It's kind of like that until it's mostly out. This here, this plastic part is where the water goes. You also gotta clean this. This one has also tabs like these right here. So you gotta take this one off like that. This one on the other side, same thing. Right here. Okay. Now, to remove these, you also gotta unplug them. It's the same concept as the holes is up here. Okay, there's a 1, matches up with the 1. And then there's a 2, matches up with the 2. Once you do that, the whole thing just pulls right out. Kind of like that. Then you gotta take this screen off. Just gently push it out. And you clean it. Okay, now we gotta clean the lid. This lid here has a filter that goes attached to it. To take this off, there's some plastic tabs right here. Okay, there's 2 here and 2 on the other side. So just kind of grab them, pull them out like this. Gently pull it out, slowly pull it out. And then bring it over to the trash because it's dripping. Now this thing hanging here, that's the filter. To take that off, shine it in here. Just bring. It goes in this little frame that's here. To take this frame out, this tab right here has to go inside this metal piece. So to take it out, you just gotta push up the whole thing until the tab clears and you pull it out. Then I like to put this here like this, and then you throw this out. Kind of like that. You gotta you reattach a new one. The new ones are in that pink box up there. Okay, they're actually knee highs. This is what they are. They are knee highs. Okay, so when you're out, you need to go buy these. You should get this at CVS up the street. Here's the bucket. This is the dirty water. Gotta go clean this. All this is gonna be done in the sink over there by the microwave. Here's what the clean bucket looks like once you take all the stuff out of it. Just make sure it's rinsed off good and nothing's left in there. Make sure the residue inside the pump, all this in here, is also wiped off. Just with a wet towel, paper towel, a couple paper towels usually does it. There's the bucket reinstalled. It just drops in there and then the screen is back. It just pushes back in there. Just make sure that the tabs, these slots here, the tabs go in there. Okay, next we're gonna put the filter back, but this filter is very difficult to put back on. So it's cloth and it has to be suspended only along the edge of this here. So to put it back, I usually hold it kind of like that, and you have to carefully put it. So then you want to try to make sure it stays, so you gotta kind of work with it until the whole entire thing is sitting on the edge of this. So you gotta have to kind of go like that until it stays kind of like that. Make sure it's even as best as possible, like that. Okay, then you gotta put the ring back on top, which is this right here. These slots here, these have to fit into these guys here. There's 3 of them. So you're gonna put it kind of like that. Make sure it's all the way down, and then turn the handle into the locks, but make sure it's locked into the machine. So you gotta push it down and pull it, push it down and pull it, and then this last one, push it down and pull it until it goes in and looks like that. Then you put the lid back on. Make sure these are with these right here. So kind of like that. Doesn't matter which way it goes. It's the same on both sides. Doesn't matter. There's no certain way to put this in. So you go like that. And make sure this latch catches. And it looks, the other side looks exactly the same. And there it is. Now I gotta put the filter back on this. The filter was the thing that was hanging here earlier that looked like that big piece of brown stuff that I put in there. So here's the filter. You gotta put it in through the top like this. And then, so this has a part of it that's thicker, and then it gets thinner right here. This whole thicker part has to be all evenly wrapped around here and up right around here. So kind of like this. But see right there, it's not even. See the holes right here, so you have to pull this over until the whole thing is pretty even. So that means there's too much right here, see, and then to pull this over, kind of like that, and keep pulling it until it's all attached on the outside of it, so that only the thin part shows in here. So kind of like that. So that's pretty good right there. See, this has got to look like that. Okay. Now we need to put this back into this. The way you do that. So right now we're gonna put this into this. So the way you gotta put it is you gotta put it face this. The hole is gonna go facing that way. Okay. What you gotta do is this top part has to fit against these white tabs here. It's hard to see, but they're right here. So you're gonna go kind of like this. Okay, so you have to put your hand on the other side to kind of guide it. They gotta go behind those, kind of like that. Okay, and then this bottom tab here, it's gotta be fit back into the slot there. Once you put it back in there, pull it down, and they'll hold it in place. And that's how you put this back in. The water needs to be filled up to about halfway to about right here. Distilled water only. So that right there is about 2.5 gallons. Then you got to put the lid back on. This here is the lid. This curved part right here, okay, matches up with this curved part right here. Once you lower it in there, you'll hear a snap, and that's going to be these clips snapping into these tabs right here. Once you hear that, you should hear 4 of them. 2 here, 2 on the other side. And that means you put the lid back on correctly. It should go in smooth and easy. There should be nothing obstructing it. You don't have to press it on. It just slides in there and it clips. See, we just lower it easily. And there it is. Make sure the cables are not inside the water. Right, it's outside. And there you go. And they're clipped in. There it is. 2 here. 2 on the other side. It looks exactly the same. Right there. Right there. And then you just slide this and put it back on here. That screen goes into here. Put the cables back. Remember, the 1 goes with the 1, and then the 2 goes with the 2. Make sure they're fully connected. Also make sure that the clips on the sides are fully engaged so that the bucket can be held in place correctly right here. Make sure this is in here all the way. The other side looks exactly the same. And now remember to reconnect 2 with 2 right here, and then the 1, which is the black one, with the 1 right here. You then want to push the machine back kind of where it was. You got to put it slightly angled so that when the cabinet is back here, you can look at the water. You got to see how much water you have, gotta be able to see the level. Right now it looks dark because it's full, but once the level starts to go down, you'll see there'll be it will be more clear where there's no water. It'll be darker where the water is. So now you put the drain right here as it was, and then you put this back as it was. Remember that the gray O-ring that goes in here, make sure it's still there. When you're putting this back underneath the machine, put that in there, and then this tab that's right there, that's blue tab, it's gotta fit into the slot. There's a slot under there, and there's one on the other side too. You gotta find the slots, which are right there. Okay, once they're in there on both sides, you turn it. You should be able to turn it until it locks in place. So once they're in there, you want to just turn it until it locks, and there you go. It's locked in on both sides, and that's how it looks basically. Now, once you have all that in there, turn the machine on, and you gotta check it to make sure what you did is good. You gotta make sure it's not out of balance. To do that, you would push this square right here. It'll start spinning. Okay, let it reach full speed. Wait a moment. If there's no beeping, no red lights or anything, it means it's all good. And then you push it back again to stop it. It'll start to slow down, and that means basically everything was done correctly. If ever during operation, when it's in use, after it's been used, if there's ever a beeping or any red lights turn on, what needs to be done is these tabs need to be undone on both sides. Lift, take this off, take this off. The disc that's inside, you gotta just basically spin it by hand, put this back on, put everything back on, and that should be good to go. Sometimes it goes out of balance, so when you do what I just described, that's basically to reset it. And that's it. That's how you service the water pump for the Edger.